on YouTube, Three Sons RC, come back at you with another bench breakdown video, guys. We got the Corrali Asuga on the bench today. We're gonna go over 5 game changers that I think nobody's really talking about, guys. But when we get this thing rocking, we're gonna rock some CNHL packs, and I'm probably gonna overgear it completely. So I got this Hyperflow fan I'm gonna throw in there. So quick shout out to Team Corrali for sending out this rig for Three Sons RC to test. But guys, if you've seen our XTR long-term bash review, you know we're honest about our rigs. We care entirely too much about you guys, our subscribers, to have an opinion about something that's based upon an RC being sent to us. So we're gonna give you our honest opinion, our full feedback on this rig. 5 game-changing upgrades that Team Corrali has added to their rigs this generation that I don't think anybody's talking about, right? Now this started with the Asuga and now onto the Kagama. A lot of these upgrades are very similar. Have other people talked about them? Yes, of course they've been mentioned in the videos, but I'm gonna kind of focus them and bring them out and kind of talk about why I believe they're important and why I think they're big time game changers when it comes to the bashability of these rigs. Number 1 is the Hinge Pin Kits. Now that's the A block, the B block, the C block right there, and the D block. Now, what these do is these function as pivot points for the arms, right? So 2 things. These hinge pins used to be about 5 millimeters. They've been upgraded to 8 millimeters, I believe, and they're 6061. They're a nice, tough piece of kit, right? Now, that's great that they've actually made them thicker and tougher, but the bigger piece is actually now they have threaded holes that actually go through the bottom of the chassis right up into the blocks themselves. I don't believe I've seen that anywhere in the RC community. Guys, correct me down below in the comments if I've missed that, but I think this is new. What you can't see is right underneath this skid plate in the rear and in the front of the truck is there's 2 screw holes here and 2 screw holes here that go right through the chassis and into those little blocks right there and there. Locks it up in the back and in the front. And if you look really closely, you can kind of see how the screw head is coming through the block here. That's actually the C block. And then in the D block in the back, you can see right there, it's coming out. And then in the front, this is the A block. You can see the screw holes are actually coming right through. Obviously there's some Loctite in there, but you can just kind of see how that's really gonna lock in those hinge pins right into the chassis. Just adds a whole nother level of durability. With pretty much any RC, a really bad wreck to the tower to the front end can really break the whole front end off of the actual chassis because the bulkheads in the front and the rear are always gonna be plastic on those. So the screws that go up through there, what they do is they actually strip right out with a bad impact and can rip it right through. Now that's a really bad impact. It doesn't happen all the time, right? But this eliminates that issue because you see the screws go up through the chassis into the blocks, and those blocks go through the actual bulkheads and lock in the whole front and the rear of the chassis. Now anybody who has a monster truggy, a speed truggy, whatever you want to call these rigs, guys, one of the things that breaks the most on these rigs is the wing mounts. Or the wings, they just bust off. You land bad, you land on the tail. So Team Corrali has kind of tried to address that with some great innovations. Let me show you what they've done here to kind of toughen up this known problem area with every RC. First off, the wing actually mounts to the bulkhead and to the tower with 8 screws. You can see 2 right there to the bottom of the tower, and then 2 right there, 2 right there. And what you can't see is there's actually 2 from the other side of the shock tower that come into this wing mount. So that's 8 screws attaching into the bulkhead and to the shock tower. So that's really going to lock it in and help a lot. But they've also done some things up top. There's 3 components here. You have the wing mount, you have this bracket piece, and then you have the actual wing. Opportunities in all 3 of these areas. I'll show you real quick what they've done here. First off, you can clearly see there's actually 2 spots right here, and on the other side 2 spots, but then there's a 3rd one up top, which most RCs don't have a 3rd one up top. So that's strengthened by an actual pillar that goes straight across. So there's 3 mounting points that attaches it right here, and that's with locking bolts, so it's not gonna strip out on you. In addition, look how much more material Corrali has added to the piece that connects the wing to the actual wing mount. This is the old piece right here, right? This is what you're used to seeing. It's very familiar. This is a common piece that you see in a lot of different RCs. But look at the thickness here, guys. Look at that. Look at how much more material they added into that. That might not show up too well on camera, guys, but these arms are significantly thicker and significantly wider than last generation. So that's really gonna toughen them up. But guys, what I really wanna focus on is a cool little thing that Corrali did is these caps, right? These caps are gonna lock in these hinge pins that shoot right through the arm, because what happens a lot of times, the arm will rip right off and leave the hinge pin behind. Well, these caps are going to lock into the actual arms, and it really helps prevent this from actually happening. They got this in the 2 arms in the back, and the two arms in the front, and they did add these cool little caps on the end. Just a nice little polish, nice little attention to detail. Something Team Corally has actually been doing for quite a while that I don't think gets enough attention is actually how often Team Corally decides to use locking bolts at the end of their screws. And what that does is it locks in the screws so it can't pull out, because typically when you have a screw going into a plastic piece, hard impact comes, the screw will strip out, cause damage, something's broken, right? So let me show you how often they use those. For example, you have the receiver box. Look at that locking nut way down in there. How's that gonna pull through? That's not going to. Look at the towers. Going into the bulkhead right there, that is a locking nut on the other side. How can it strip through the bulkhead? It can't. It's actually on the other side with a bolt. Same thing in the back. You can see all over this rig, locking nuts and bolts all through the actual tower. These can't strip out because there's a bolt on the other side locking it in. Like I mentioned earlier, on the back side of this wing mount, locking bolts. So you can see throughout this entire rig, there's just huge amounts of locking bolts. Does it cost more money? Yes. Does it help add a lot of strength? Yes. So the next game changer I really want to talk about is actually this top center brace and actually the lower center brace that you can't really see here. I'm going to throw a picture up right here. But this is a buggy, guys. Yes, it's a 1/7 scale buggy. It's a little bit bigger than a normal buggy, but also on their 1/8 scale buggy, the Spark, they've added top center braces. Now, you all have seen normal composite style braces similar to this on the Armor rigs, but you've never seen an upper center brace and a lower center brace that Corally has added. That's game changer, and let me show you why this is so cool. So you can see the chassis braces are connected here and here. So that's 3 screws and then 3 screws in the back. So that's great. That's more than normal, right? And then you can also see that they're connected like they would normally be, connected up to this top plate right here and also to the back bulkhead right here. But you can also see that's several connection points. There's 2 right here, and there's 2 more that is connected. What's cool about this top center bracing, guys, is that Corally has actually designed this specifically for the Asuga, right? So if you look at the Kagama, that has a different type of bracing system. If you look at the new Spark, that has a different type of bracing system because it's a shorter type chassis, right? So guys, they've actually designed different type of solutions based upon the application, and I think that's pretty unique. Now, these are composite. They're going to allow a little bit of flexing if you're needing a little bit of an upgrade because they're super centered. Corally does make 7075 ones that can replace this. They also make 7075 ones that can replace this piece right here and also the piece that goes below. So what's cool about Corally is they actually make a lot of their own upgrades, also for the bulkheads, front and rear 7075. Plenty of aftermarket companies do make parts for the Corally rigs out there, but you don't have to rely upon that. Yes, M2C makes great parts. I believe CRCU makes some good stuff out there. Basher Queen does as well. If I'm forgetting your name, sorry guys, I can't remember all the names out there, but hey, if you don't want to rely upon that, though, Corally makes their own stuff. And the anodization on there, super clean, super nice. 7075 options available from front to back for most of these rigs. So these extra braces and all the contact points are really going to stop the rig from flexing and reverse flexing. So it's basically going to stop it when you have a hard impact and it flexes down, and then if you land upside down, it's going to stop it from flexing back that way. That's why you have this brace right here and also the bracing down below. I have seen some ready-to-run rigs that just have the composite on there. This has some metal aluminum here and on the bottom, and then also you can upgrade that to 7075 if you want to go full sender with the towers, the bulkheads, and all that kind of stuff, all made by Corally, and then aftermarket options if you want to go that route. So those are the 5 game-changing things that I believe nobody's talking about when it comes to the Team Corally rigs this generation. Now sure, I can talk about the fact that they moved over to some plastic turnbuckles and steering links up front. I think that's great because I'm a basher. I don't need the adjustability. Guys, you know how many times I've actually adjusted those on all my other rigs? Never. I've never adjusted them. If you do, that's great. I don't really care. That's just another place where something can break. I think that's cool that they've moved over to that. Could I talk about the fact that I think that these are some of the best electronics on any RTR out there? Sure, I could. I could also mention that it seems as though Team Corally is changing things faster and listening more than any manufacturer out there. Sure, ARM is doing some great things. Traxxas is doing some things out there, kind of slowly, right? But guys, I think Team Corally is really making making some rapid changes, and you need to check them out. So guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. These are 5 game-changing things that I really think are going to affect this generation of Corally rigs and also moving forward. But guys, we're going to put these to the test. We're going to see if these changes make a difference. Yeah, Corally sent this rig out to us to test. But guys, you know how we are with our rigs. We're going to put this to the test. We're going to bash the heck out of it, and we're going to give you our honest opinion on how durable this rig is, how well it handles, and how it stacks up against the competition. But Team Corally is doing some awesome things, so check them out, guys. Link in the description if you want to check out these vehicles and the upgrades we got coming for it. Appreciate your time. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Peace out.